to record?
Yep.
Where the hell do I do that at?
Wherever you did it last time.
Fuck. Oh, okay, wait, no.
I think it's going to be in the participants window.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah.
I am recording
Alan,
right
do you
now.
not have AC?
So you're not recording right
9:10
now?
PM. Not until you allow me to.
Fuck.
This should be in the podcast.
Are we podcasting yet?
No, because I'm not
We're
recording
not.
yet. Anne, are you recording?
Share screen.
No.
Can
We
somebody
brought you on
Google
for
this?
one thing.
I mean,
You
I
totally
see record on the bottom.
who will be granted recording privileges. Click more next to their
More.
name. Oh, God. Yes. That's what
Allow
we're doing.
record.
What is up, people? Welcome to the Are We Podcasting Yet? Sort of kind of like a podcast. We're super excited that you decided to tune in a third time, or maybe this is your first time, in which case, welcome. Justin, who do we have on
Today
our show?
we have the lovely Ann Winterson coming to us from Taipei. Ann is a half Taiwanese, half American actress who she's a damn good actress. I know that much.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
How you doing, Ann? How is it over there in Taipei right now?
It's great. It's almost like a parallel universe. I know there's a pandemic going on right now in the world, but we've gotten so good about having zero cases that people are starting to not actually wear masks sometimes.
Oh, that's interesting. Here in the States, lots of people never wear masks anyway.
You're obviously in Taipei right now, and you went there from the U.S.
Correct.
because the global pandemic basically destroyed all opportunities of work.
I mean, yeah, we were having a good time in LA.
We were
And
here together hanging out. You left me to go to the place that's doing fine. Well, while I'm still here.
And be
Basically.
careful. And be careful. He might end up in Taipei pretty soon, because this is what I did. I left Singapore, and then he showed up in LA.
Oh,
We've
okay.
discussed this actually, Alan.
Justin is going to be in Taipei because there's
Welcome.
no lockdown there, and they're doing entertainment work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, totally. Welcome. You guys are both welcome. But yeah, I mean, I booked a job and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back because at least I can book more work. And when LA looks better, I can always go back. I came back late March and I had to do quarantine. And that was an interesting experience because once I landed, we had the typical temperature check. And then I was assigned a taxi. And then I had to actually connect my phone to the government system. So it was like I was a felon.
We were also convinced that you had coronavirus.
Oh, Justin
Oh,
told me you got it.
Because we thought,
Okay.
I was telling everybody you had it.
Literally, people who don't know you know
Because you
had
were
it.
dying.
I mean, okay. Apparently I didn't. I mean, we're just going to ruin it. I got tested and I was negative. But Justin was helping me out with the self-tape virtually. And I had this scene and I was like, yo, Justin, I need to just sit down. I'm about to pass out right now.
You
And
looked
so-
horrible.
Thanks.
I mean,
did.
in a horrible way for you.
Yeah, I know. It was rough. And then on top of that, my roommate was also saying that she had similar symptoms of tight chest and kind of a dry cough. It solidified my assumption that I had it. The government of Taiwan was like, you need to go get tested. The ambulance came and they picked me up and I got the nose thingy.
Ooh, they stuck it up in there. You got the nose jab.
Yes.
It was bad? Was it bad?
It was pretty bad.
Justin, let's think about this, okay? Anne arrived in Taiwan, and they were like, hey, sounds like you might have something. We just want to test you just to be sure. You might have it. You might not have it. Let's just find out. Here in America, they're like, oh, no, you have it. Don't come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Don't
mean, they
come
were
into
like
the
that
hospital.
for a while. Things have gotten a little bit better, obviously, especially here in Los Angeles. I don't know. I got tested the other day.
Well, testing has gotten better, but things have not gotten better.
No,
Case
things have
numbers
not gotten better, but the testing has gotten better, at least in Los Angeles, which is a very small percentage of the entire country. Here, if it's a Los Angeles city administered test, they don't have the nasal things anymore. It's you just swipe around your mouth. And
Oh,
you
that's
put this
nice.
thing.
Is that supposed to be as effective or no?
No, for sure not.
Sounds so not accurate.
I don't think there's an issue with its accuracy with regards to if it's done properly. The issue is everybody's doing it themselves. If we've learned one thing through this entire experience, it's you cannot trust the masses, so we probably can't trust them to do the damn test themselves as well. So odds are you got a good percentage of people in their cars doing this thing, put it in the bag, and managing to accidentally drop it on the floor, you're supposed to not eat for 20 minutes to an hour beforehand, eat or drink anything.
Really?
There's probably people eating a Big Mac while they're in there driving through, then they swab. So like there's some things you're supposed to do which probably are not being adhered to. So who knows what the accuracy level really is.
I bet you in Taiwan, let me know if I'm wrong, Ann, I bet you they give you very clear and consistent information and guidelines about what should be done, what they're doing, and how to stay safe. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say beat it already. Like, we're not even talking about COVID. We're talking about the next pandemic right now.
Great.
Like, how to prevent the next one.
We haven't even gotten out of our first wave yet.
No. My heart
We're
is
talking
with
about Kanye West running for president. That's what we're talking about now.
Wait, who's talking about Kanye West running for president? Is this a
Oh,
thing?
you don't know?
I mean, I know a long time ago he said that he was.
No. Go look at your phone. Check any news site. He tweeted out he is running for president.
Oh, I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna look this up. I'm not even going to news site. I'm going straight to the source. I'm going to Twitter.
Go to Kanye's Twitter.
Okay, it's called Twitter, not Twitter.
I'm old. I don't know. My accent's changing.
Okay, actually, as I do this, speaking of us being old, Justin. Okay, Ann did this, right?
Yeah, I do this
Justin,
all the time.
Justin, what does this mean?
This is my favorite thing to do.
What does it mean?
This means that I'm tactile and I like to feel myself. This means I'm a fan of nipples.
Come on, you know what this means.
This means I love you.
Okay, but what is it?
If you also like K-pop.
But what is it about this that wouldn't say I love you?
It looks like little hearts.
Like right here, right?
Yeah, that one part of it looks like a little heart.
That's what I was thinking. No, man, the full thing looks actually like an anatomical heart.
What do you mean?
That's what it's for. This is like that's actually.
Oh, the whole hand is the heart?
The whole hand, yeah.
The fist is the heart.
My girlfriend just taught me this. I thought it was just this little tiny heart. No, the whole thing is actually an anatomical heart. It's actually the shape of a real heart.
I don't even know where I am right now. What are you talking about?
Mind blown.
And did you know this?
I did not. My mind is blown.
I feel like lots of people think that it's this part, but it's actually the full heart.
You have three half semi-Asian people here that have lived in Asia. None of us knew this. Are we sure this isn't just an issue where your girlfriend is wrong?
No. She's more informed in terms of K-pop than any of us are. Her sister's like a huge K-pop fanatic. It's actually an entire heart, man. And if you think about it, look, it looks like it actually does look like a heart. It blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh. That's all of a sudden I didn't like this.
Because I've really been focusing on this part here when I'm showing it to people.
And we sound like boomers, but we're not even boomers.
So when we're on stage and we do this and we're getting like laughed at, they're not laughing at us because they're excited that we're doing this. No. They're laughing at us because we're like doing this wrong at them. And they're like, why are they directing their fist heart that way? Speaking
By the way,
Fist Heart, great name for a new band.
Yes, it is. All right, so, Ann, when are you coming back to America? Huh? When this whole pandemic is done and gone?
Yeah, probably not till next year. When are you guys coming back to Asia?
Actually,
September or August.
Yeah, Justin will be out there pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm
after Michigan.
Yeah, I gotta go to Michigan to see the fam, and then I'm gonna come here and shoot a little something, and then I'm getting my ass back to Asia because, to be honest, it's a shit show here.
Yeah.
Do you guys hear the fireworks? By the way,
I hear my fireworks. And happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy
4th of July to you guys.
Although
first time we've had 3 Americans on the podcast.
This is exciting.
3rd time we've ever had a podcast. So
yeah.
Statistically.
All right, and I got some questions because I know that you've kind of lived and worked all over the world. Actually, I know that you've lived and worked in mainland China for a while, right? What city were you in again?
I was living in Beijing, but I filmed in Shanghai. I filmed in Inner Mongolia, Zhuhai, all over actually.
Yeah, and then you obviously live and work in Taiwan, and then you were in LA just recently, right?
Yes, I was. I just signed over there, and I was excited to stay for a while, but the pandemic hit.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? So I think it's interesting. You have a perspective that not a lot of people, especially a lot of Americans, have necessarily been able to experience, right?
You're half Taiwanese. I don't know that we've mentioned that yet.
Wait, Anne,
That's
where were you
important.
born? You weren't born in America, right?
Texas, actually.
You were born in Texas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't
Lubbock,
get more
Texas.
American than that. Longhorns.
Does it?
Justin, where's your Longhorn hat?
It's over here.
Go get it.
I'm going to try and grab it with my foot.
Gotta do something about that hair.
It's a good thing I'm wearing
That's all saying.
pants this time.
It is. All right, so while Justin does that, and what's it, I don't know how to ask this question. What is it like going back and forth, especially in terms of work? I know a lot of people who have lived in the States are super curious, or who are from the States, super curious about what it's like out in Asia. I know lots of people have asked me or Justin, sometimes they've even been like, oh, you live in Singapore, how's China? And you're like, haha, Singapore's not in China.
Or, oh, what's it like living in the third world?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, Singapore's not third world.
Yeah.
But even more so than Southeast Asia, I feel like China, mainland China specifically, is a different experience from America. So back and forth, like, what's it feel like for you to go back and forth? It has to be quite different.
It is. I mean, I'm racially Chinese and Scandinavian, but I get reverse culture shock whenever I go back and forth. You know, when I was in LA this time around, I realized, dang, I have some kind of, I don't know, I'm pretty Asian when it comes down to it. But I do like the energy in LA, the creative energy. But the thing about China is there's a lot of projects, right? And so I've played roles like the Uyghur princess, the Xiyu Gongzhu, in some imperial stuff. I've played like the mixed girl, like myself, coming back from the US and stealing your man. I've played all sorts of roles in China that might be a little bit more competitive and harder to get in the US. But that's with acting, right? I haven't actually given Hollywood a shot yet. In terms of modeling, I would say, I don't know, it's really similar. Modeling is kind of the same around the world. But what I will say, the nice thing about traveling back and forth is it teaches you that beauty is so socially constructed. Things that are really, you know, like being fair-skinned, for example, in Asia is so important. But then having freckles in the US is considered cute.
Oh, I talk about this all the time. How come girls in LA want to be darker and girls in Asia, sorry, girls and guys, it's not a gender thing. People in LA want to be darker, people in Asia want to be lighter. Like there's actually, you can tell the people who don't know about whitening agents in Asia, because skin products in Asia are different.
They are different. I mean, it's kind of changing in Taiwan, but for the most part, girls and women, they want to stay fair-skinned because the practical reason behind it is, you know, UV rays, it does kind of age you over the long run. But it also makes you look more posh and higher class, you could say. So there's kind of two reasons to that. But yeah, in America, people still self-tan, I think, and you look healthier when you're tan, they say.
So do you know why culturally in Asia that being of a lighter color makes you seem more of a higher social status? Like, what are the cultural reasons for that?
I'm not quite sure, so don't quote me on this, but I think it's because if you're of higher SES, then you would have, you know, maids and people that would hold your little umbrella, or you wouldn't have to be out in the fields working, right?
That's it.
That's exactly
pretty sure
why
that's what it is. Yeah.
Very
if I'm not mistaken.
And think about this also in California, for example, or Los Angeles, the wealthier and more, just the wealthier parts of society can enjoy leisure.
Exactly. They can
right, and along with leisure comes
a
tan. Yep.
It shows that
you have the time to go out on your fancy vacations. Totally. So that's interesting how both of these have like a history to it, but we don't think about it.
And it's still about being higher class. That's kind of the sad part.
It's always a class thing, really, when it comes down to it, isn't it?
It is. Okay,
well,
Anne brought up
for
something.
most part.
Justin, what do you think about this term that Anne brought up? Reverse culture shock. I had never heard it before. I think I have heard it before, but I think it's super interesting because I feel like I have experienced that where,
for sure,
you know, I've been in Asia for so long and I come back and I'm literally in San Francisco airport, like where I'm from. And I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel as comfortable as it did before.
I definitely got it more when I first went out to Asia. I don't know about you guys.
No,
right? But then I got
Asia,
accustomed to going back and forth.
Okay, yeah. Oh, you mean that first time that you come back?
Like the first few years, several years really. I mean, because I was living in Bangkok, and then I'd be accustomed to my Bangkok lifestyle, and then I'd come back to Dallas, Texas for a while, and it felt weird. Home felt weird all of a sudden. Now, not so much. Now I feel like I've gotten to the point where I've gone back so much where both feel like home, and I adjust very quickly. But those first few years were very strange.
What about you, Anne? Where do you consider home? What is home for you?
That's such a good question. Right now, I would probably say Taipei, but I think with the three of us, I don't know. I'm pretty adaptable like Justin. As actors, we have to just kind of pack up and leave at last minute's notice. And I have to be able to just be comfortable wherever I go. I like to bring like a little candle or something with me to my hotels so it at least smells like home. But,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
See, I don't wash my clothes very much, so I bring my aroma with me.
Yeah.
It always smells comfortable to me.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm still not comfortable going back and forth. Even
why?
I think every time, if it's been more than 1 month in one place, I think I get caught up in the daily rituals that I'm in the people that I talk to, and where I get my coffee, and where I do my work, or what I eat for lunch. Like, I get so caught up in the choices that I make every single day. And then when you just completely uproot your life, transport to the other side of the world, every decision you make is different all of a sudden. Like, every choice now is a different decision than what I got so used to doing. And I don't know, I'm still a little off kilter. It's been a decade for me, and I'm still off kilter.
Yeah. Does it matter how long you are in one location?
Yeah. If I'm only in Asia for 2 weeks and I come back home, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
No, but 1 month I think is my thing. I think.
But like, what if you went to Singapore right now? You've been out here for a while. What? Almost a year? 6 months?
No.
7 months.
4 months.
Was it 4 months? Oh, that's right. You were in Singapore right before the lockdown started.
It was still happening. Like,
wait. Here's a question. Do you wish you had gotten back in time, or wish you'd be stuck in Singapore?
Okay. Just considering the situation of the virus.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather be in Singapore.
Fuck yeah, you would. But it's barely a question.
I know. So, but taking like that away, my own personal circumstances, I'm glad I can be here because I can help my family out right now. And there are things that I can do because I don't have a job right now, but there are things that I can do to help out, like my grandmother for grocery shopping and stuff. So it's good that I'm here and I can help.
We know Anne's answer because she made that decision.
Yeah. I gotta thank my mom. I mean, everybody was like, no, don't leave. It's gonna be better in a few weeks. And I was like, yeah, no. I'm gonna go.
You knew.
Yeah.
We all knew. Can I make a prediction?
Oh, I'm scared of it.
Still, right now, not going to be better in a few weeks.
Oh no, not even close, man. We're on an exponential growth right now. That's what people don't understand when they're like, oh, we only have this number of cases. Yeah, but this number of cases becomes this number in like a week. And then it becomes like, it's how fast this thing goes.
Obviously, Alan and I are in the US, which is the country in the world that has done
the worst.
Probably, if not the worst, one of the top three. I mean, you got Brazil to compete with, and
Brazil's only like this because of us.
It's very possible.
Jair Bolsonaro is only following our president.
Yeah. I mean, I think he would have been a douchebag even without Trump. But yeah, fair.
No, you're right.
So you've got U.S., which very possibly the country that's done the worst job of handling this crisis, and Taiwan, which by all accounts has probably done the best. So what Alan and I would like to know, since Alan and I are both running for office soon, how did Taiwan get it so right?
Thank you for asking. I want to know this too.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but I did read up on this, and I think it's early prevention. So in 2019, in December, when they heard about this mysterious virus, Taiwan sent people to Wuhan to kind of study it, to see what's going on. And in January, they were setting up border control. And actually, since 2003, in the airports, there's the fever thing. So this was before any type of pandemic.
Right.
If you have a fever, you have to get pulled aside and tested for whatever it could be, Ebola, whatever. And so, like I think starting, I don't know the actual dates, but I think maybe it was January or February, nobody from mainland China could come. And then once Europe started getting bad and the US started getting bad, it straight up just kind of locked everybody out. It just, what's it called? Shut down the borders. So only Taiwanese citizens could come back. And even if they came back, they would have to self-quarantine for 14 days. And they would be monitored and watched by the government. The police would call you if your GPS left your house. They know precisely where you are.
Didn't you have the cops come to your house?
I did. This was funny because I was doing a self-tape and I was getting all these notifications and I was like, oh my goodness, let me get the self-tape done. I put it airplane mode. I don't know why I didn't do not disturb, but I did airplane mode. Within 30 minutes, I got knocks on my door. And they were like, did you go anywhere? And I was like, no, I was doing self-tapes. And they're like, don't turn your phone off. And I was like, oh my goodness, okay, here, sorry. So that's how I knew they're quick, they're watching me, and I felt actually really safe at that point.
And they started that near the beginning of the year, you're saying? Like really early on.
March. This was late March.
Oh, late March, okay.
Yeah.
What is it? It's July here? We haven't really started anything yet?
No.
We're still
I
kind
don't
of...
even know.
Tough.
How does America contact trace? I haven't read a single article about how America is doing its contact tracing. I know how Singapore does its contact tracing. I'm literally in a WhatsApp thread that the government sends me messages while I'm here. I know exactly what's happening in Singapore, but I have no idea how they're contact tracing here.
Totally do it as well. It's like when you watch those movies and they're like, oh, this person went off the grid. It's through your cellular service. So as long as you have a cell phone, then they can know where you're at, right?
So here's the issue.
You can leave your phone at home.
Americans are not going to allow that to happen.
Well, so so when you're going for any testing, you have to give them your phone number.
Really?
So,
I didn't know that.
So there is a certain element of contact tracing happening. Now, obviously the government's not telling people they're doing this, but they're not telling them they're doing this, but they're for sure doing it. Like, because it's so easy. I would imagine. This is speculation on my part. Maybe this is a conspiracy theory, but I mean, it would be silly to have that information and for all these people coming up positive and then not trying to figure out where they're going. Because they are doing certain elements of contact tracing to find out where certain hotspots are and how they started, right? So they're doing it somehow, right? It's got to be through their cell phones. So it's got to be through that way. So they're doing it more than people here realize, which is why it blows my mind that all these people that they're freaking out about, oh no, I don't want to be tracked, and they worry about like the government infringing upon their freedoms, and they don't you're already being tracked.
Exactly.
It doesn't that ship sailed like several years ago. Like, come on.
They either track you while you're moving around, or they'll just know where you are when you're in intensive care and you're.
No, I was gonna say that's of the utmost importance because in April, I got a text message actually saying that there was a positive case in this mall that I went to. And I got that text message because I went there and they said, what time to what time? And I was like, okay, thank goodness I went before the person went. But I mean, it's so helpful. It's so helpful.
See, that's real contact tracing.
They can't do that here because then the people will know that they're contact tracing. And if people know that, they'll grab their guns and they'll storm a fucking political office. They'll shoot things.
For masks, they stormed a government building with long guns because they didn't want to be forced to wear masks. Anyway, but like they're doing the same thing in Singapore. And like, I know that in Singapore, you can, I think you sign up on this app or something. And I was told by one of my friends that they told him like how many people that he passed who had been in the same place as another person who had COVID. So not even one link to the person who had it. They're like, okay, you were, and they tell you where at which point during your journey. It's like, wow.
That's great.
Then, so is there a certain amount of people that you have to pass where they make you go and do another test, or is it just like, how does that work?
Like, can the government track your exposure, I guess. And then if they feel like it's too high, would they ever just be like, go get tested based on your own like
right?
movements?
Oh yeah, they would. They definitely would. So like if somebody was positive on the plane, then everybody on that plane would get tested.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, look, there are ways to deal with this, Justin. That's what I'm hearing. There are ways to actually.
It's really frustrating too. I mean, watching it from over here, it's like, yo, America had like the preview. We saw Wuhan go on lockdown. We saw Italy. We saw Europe. What you doing? Come on.
What are the people in Asia right now, or at least in Taiwan, kind of saying about how America's handling this situation?
I think they're just really confused. They're not mocking the US, but they're just kind of like, poor US, what happened? Like, are you guys okay? Why don't you wear masks? I remember when I went to LA in February and I went to an NBA game and nobody was wearing masks because, I mean, we didn't really have it then yet. And my friends in China, in mainland China, were like, girl, wear a mask. And I go, if I wore a mask now, I'd be ostracized.
You would have been.
People would look at me like I was a zombie or something. So, I don't know. It's just a cultural difference.
Which it's so insane to me. Because Anne, tell the people who are listening who have not been to Taiwan, what is it like in Taiwan when it comes to masks before the pandemic? I mean, mask wearing in Asia before the pandemic. What was it like?
It's a courtesy thing. It's if you feel like you have a headache or you have a runny nose, you wear a mask. It's not being a toddler, right? I wear masks on the plane when I'm flying because the air of the plane it's not the cleanest. So I wear that to just kind of stay healthy. So it's not a big thing. And I'm sorry, it doesn't restrict your breathing. If it did, doctors and nurses would all be dead when they are doing surgery. Like, spare me.
People in Asia are wearing masks when there's not a global pandemic.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what we need to. I wish people here in the States who are against mask wearing, I wish they could understand this. That first of all, it doesn't make you look bad. It doesn't make you look less masculine or less cool or any of this BS, right? And in Asia, on a normal day, you walk down,
you'll see people wearing
a packed street. You're gonna see what would we say, guys? 25% of people wearing masks,
I'd say
maybe
so,
less. Maybe a little
wait,
less.
you mean right now?
No, I mean with no pandemic.
Oh, not 25%.
10, 15? Dude, I see a lot of masks.
No, not that high. Walking down Orchard Road in Singapore, you see 1 out of 10 people in a mask.
You walk down Orchard more than I do, but on like a bus, I feel like I have seen 10% maybe.
It depends on what's going on. I mean, no, I will grant you that you always see people in masks because obviously they're sick or something's going on where they feel they need to wear it, whatever that reason is. But there's always people wearing masks. Yes, agreed.
One thing we should point out is that maybe one of the reasons why in some countries out in Asia, people are more accustomed to wearing masks is that sometimes there's really intense air pollution. And like when the haze comes down into Singapore from Indonesia and Malaysia, like you have to wear a mask. And then I know in Beijing the air quality can be really bad too.
That's true, and that's too bad. And that's, I think, one of the good things about the pandemic is that for a while the air was really good because factories couldn't open.
Yeah. Well, no, Los Angeles had out of all metropolitan areas in the world, had the best air quality.
Oh, wow.
Which is definitely not the case now, because I went driving the other day and there was traffic everywhere.
Okay. Good old LA.
Yeah.
Okay. One pet peeve, guys, I just need to share it when it comes to masks. We can move on. It's really irritating me right now. I can't stand when people are wearing their mask and then just cover this part and not their nose. Like that's doing anything.
It's not conducive.
What's the point? Don't wear the mask then if you're going to be an idiot about it. But like, obviously it's supposed to cover both. I don't understand why people think that they can just cover their mouth and it's effective.
It's because they're stupid, Alan.
Oh, is that what it was?
They're stupid people. Those people do not have as high of an intelligence as other people.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stupid people out here.
Yeah.
So.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's not fine. It's not fine that they're this stupid. No, they're causing a problem.
Because
I mean, it's not even stupidity to some regard. Part of it's being stupid, yes. Another part of it is an unwarranted arrogance that people have particularly from this country in the US, that they feel they're right no matter what.
It's arrogance combined with this like tribalism of this like needing to stick with your specific group of people and your identity needing to be tied up into what they're about. So it's like, well, if my people don't wear masks, we're the not wearing mask people. It's like, great, you're also the maybe
for a
dicing
while,
people.
the Republicans were like, I'm not going to wear masks because if I wear a mask, now I look like a Democrat. And that's tragic. This is not political. This is like humanity. Do we want this pandemic to go on? Do you want your grandmother to die? When people ask me, what are you? Like, what are you, Justin? What are you, Alan? What do you say? Right?
Oof, I struggled with that a long time. Yeah, what do you say, Anne?
Well, I feel wholeheartedly both because I've spent half of my life in Taiwan, half of it in the US. But, you know, a lot of Hapas or Eurasians, they would say, oh, I'm just American or I'm just Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of grew up identifying a lot with being part Asian for sure. Probably was a rarity for people that were growing up back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Because people like half Asian wasn't a thing in the 80s. There were no half Asians around. It was just me.
We were coming. I was 5. We were coming.
You were on the way. In Texas, it was just me.
Well, like I identify as Chinese. I'm for sure Chinese American. I call myself Chinese. Ethnically, I am half Caucasian and half Chinese. I think one of the reasons I gravitated towards identifying as Chinese is because I couldn't quite figure out what it meant to identify as white. Okay. Like there wasn't a ton, and like I'm not trying at all to insult another person's identity or their color or their race. But for me, growing up, I couldn't figure out what it meant to be white. What were the cool cultures that I could represent by being white?
Why does it have to mean something?
Because on the other side, I had something that did mean something.
Oh, okay. What did it mean for you to be Chinese?
Oh, it meant everything. It meant having a very strong family. It meant respecting my elders and taking care of them now, like I can. It meant getting little red, either you call them Ong Pao or Li Cis every Chinese New Year. It meant my dad getting really mad when I got a C+ in spelling. Yeah. And he looked at me and he says, "What does this say about our family?" And I was like, "It says that the youngest one can't spell very well, Dad." But I don't know. When I was grappling with the two sides, I felt like I couldn't figure out what it meant to me to be white.
Have you figured it out now?
I figured out how I feel about it, and it could be controversial.
How does it feel to be white, Alan?
Oh, it's not about how it feels to be white. I think being white is not a race. I don't think it's an ethnicity. I don't even, it's not. Being white is just, I think, a tradition of being not the other stuff.
That's deep.
Okay, if you're saying that, okay.
I think being white is thinking, I'm not saying all white people do, but the history and culture of what it has meant to be white, let's say just in America, has been to be better than people who are not white.
I will grant you that white privilege has a much more far-reaching historical context than other ethnic privileges have in their home countries because of how Europe colonized the world. This is why every place in the world speaks Portuguese, Dutch, Spanish, English. Because of what happened during colonization times, they just kind of ran rampant. So obviously that white privilege is something that runs at an international level historically through the generations. But what you said was...
Here we go. Go ahead.
You said it doesn't have to do with race. It's an idea or a culture. And if that's the case, it has to do with...
No, it's not a culture. It's not a culture.
Okay.
I think it's just an ideology of thinking that you're better than people who are not white.
Then if that's what you're saying, then that means people in, I don't know, Nigeria can be considered white because they think they're better than people.
I'm not saying that the ideology itself is defined as white. I'm saying that whiteness in America, I think, is not defined by this concept of being superior, but it's definitely affected and driven by it, I think. All right. So speaking about privilege, which is like it's a pretty intense topic, but I got a question for you, because for both of this question goes to both of you guys, and I honestly want to know your answers. It was an interview I was doing in Singapore with a really cool journalist, and she asked me, she said, what do you say to those people who say that being half Asian is an advantage in this industry, and that a lot of people who are half Asian come from other countries and then come here and take jobs away from local talents?
I say, when was this interview happening?
Right when I got MTV. So let's say like 6.
I would say during that time for sure, yes. To some, if it was English speaking content, yes, 100%. Now, not so much.
Well, now in Singapore, I actually think that local talents have more jobs than.
Yeah, I think it's changed. I mean,
talents.
this has happened in Thailand as well, with regards to the modeling and commercial modeling industry, acting. There's been a pushback on having mixed race people. They want people to look more like the local population, which, fair enough. I think it's great. That totally makes sense to me.
It makes sense.
10 years ago, that was not the case. Now
and what do you think? I'm curious.
I think in Taiwan, it's not necessarily a benefit to be half or hapa, but I don't know about LA. What do you guys think about LA? Is it a benefit? Like, say you're looking to book an Asian role. Do you think being biracial is an impediment?
Nope. Yeah, they don't care.
I personally have felt like being not necessarily being biracial. I feel like being ambiguously ethnic is difficult for me. But that was a long time ago when I was trying to work in LA. That was damn near 10 years ago. So
I think now being ambiguous is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they don't care if you're like, you being half white, half Asian, they could care less. Like, it's either, because they're going to say you're either white or Asian. That's what matters right now. There's no room for half Asian, half people, or you're just the ambiguous guy where we're not going to talk about what you are. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So,
or you're half Asian playing white, or you're half Asian playing Asian. Like, I feel like there's
which I think everybody here would probably fall into the category of half Asian playing white.
Yeah, probably. However, Anne is fluent in Chinese, so that's a curveball.
That's true. It gives her a different window.
Yeah.
I do. I do speak Chinese, and interestingly, all the auditions I've had have been for Asian roles.
Really?
So, yeah.
I think your agency should send you to more white people castings.
You know what's funny? There aren't white people castings. There are just normal castings. No, they're just normal castings that don't specify race.
Alan, you're wrong.
White people.
Alan, actually, there's no castings right now.
Oh yeah, okay, fair.
Nobody's filming anything.
They're doing an HBO reboot of Gossip Girl, and it's going to be shooting in September. In New York.
Is it shooting in Los Angeles?
No, in New York. That's why.
Again, also a big maybe. I mean, it's all like I've been talking to a few people actually the past few days with regards to what's going on here in Los Angeles and the entertainment scene. They have no idea. Like, because they're shuffling productions around with regards to location. How are they going to shoot it? Is it going to be in a studio? Can they shoot it out in a studio? Do they move it to Canada? Do they keep it here, shoot it in a studio? If it's shot in a studio, how do they quarantine? How much more expensive does that make it? If it's going to be more expensive, they got to take it from 5 months to 3 months to maybe a 2-month shoot. Will their insurance be okay with that? Will their insurance not be okay with that? Are the actors okay with staying away from their families for that long? Blah, 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 blah. Fuck it. Let's wait till January.
Right.
Also,
Hollywood.
There's a lot of reruns out there. Right?
Yes.
There's a lot of content out there that I personally am down to rewatch. And the fact that I am means they know that their customers are cool rewatching stuff. So,
but there is going to be a gap of content here at some point. They're good for a while. They're good until next year. But 2021, at some point, they've got to figure out how to start shooting stuff.
Well, because there's a lot of shows that haven't ended, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of shows that stopped production. They haven't been found a way to end yet.
I mean, maybe people are watching stuff that's produced out in Asia or Europe, or maybe Hollywood has to go to Asia and Europe to shoot.
Maybe people are watching Anne literally doing a Taiwanese show, and that becomes a thing. I mean, the number of people I know who are watching Korean dramas now in America, it's totally possible.
That's true. That's true.
Actually, I kind of feel like the new Hollywood of the world is going to shift from LA to somewhere in Asia. And right now, I think Seoul's got a really strong chance.
Why is that?
Well, for one, I think Hollywood's going to be really hit by this lull right now. I think it's going to be really hard for a lot of productions to get back up on their feet. And it seems like production is going to be getting going in Asia sooner. For one, just that. Also, I think everybody around the world is much more open to watching content with subtitles.
100%.
I think that's totally changed. And that opens up the door. Like, I haven't watched Money Heist yet, but I really want to watch Money Heist.
I love it.
It's one of the shows that people say it's amazing. I think it's kind of cool that local content is becoming much more internationally recognized. So,
and can we talk about the protagonist Tokyo in Money Heist for a second?
Sure. What do you want to say about it?
Just say whatever you want first.
I want to hear it.
Well, she's pretty hot.
Yeah. That's it? Okay, I got to watch the show then?
But she's also a little feisty and kind of annoying.
Whoa. Why is she annoying?
Well, like, she's just not rational. Like, just, you make a lot
That's what makes her so hot. We don't know what she's going to do.
Okay. I don't want to ruin it for Alex.
At any time.
No,
Look, I'm on the edge of my seat right now just thinking about it.
Okay,
I wish there were other roles. Okay, did you watch all seasons?
No, I've only watched the first season.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, watch all 4. Then we can talk. We can.
I'm behind. I need to get on this. I've been busy doing things like editing podcasts.
Aw.
No, you didn't even edit it. You literally just took the file and threw it online.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you did a great job, Justin.
Takes a lot of time.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing more on this podcast than I do, Justin.
I'm going to have to edit this podcast a lot, though. As us 3 quasi-half Asians, how do we feel about Asian representation in Hollywood?
I thought you wanted to talk about something that was fun and lighthearted.
I want to go here right now.
You want to go here right now?
Yes.
There is a lack of half Asian representation. And I am sick of it.
Is there? We have Keanu Reeves.
No, but he's never playing a half Asian character.
That's true. So wait, is it racist for Keanu Reeves being half Asian, be playing white characters?
No, because he's part white, right?
Yeah, but I mean, so it gets weird, right? So like right now, there's been this big thing about a lot of people that are voicing animated characters.
Oh yeah,
so like you'll have a white person voicing a black character or whatever,
Abu
vice versa.
Abu and Simpsons.
That was more of the way
he does it, but he is a white guy though who's doing it, right?
Yeah, but I think that was an issue due to the fact that the accent that he was using was kind of a stereotype. But I'm talking about where, just people are playing actors of other ethnicities, and you it's not really a stereotype, it's just whatever it is, and you would know, right? And then also these people are like now apologizing for playing these other races. Do you think that that's something that's an issue that people should be apologizing for? Like, if you're a voice actor, do you have to play your race?
This is a great question.
That's a good question.
This is a really question. I actually feel
very conflicted. And then
very
how complicated does that get if you're mixed? Like, well, okay, well, now what do I do?
Yeah. No, I get
where do you draw the line?
And I don't have an answer for animation, but I think for actual movies, absolutely, Tom Cruise should not be playing an Asian. Should a half Asian get to play an Asian? I think absolutely, because just like Alan was saying earlier, he identifies as Chinese. So it's not up to other people, whether they're full Chinese or white, to say, hey, Alan, you're not Asian enough. No. If Alan feels wholeheartedly Asian, then he is Asian. Just like if a black person has a black dad and a white mom, and he wants to identify as white or black, you know what? It's on that person.
Here's the argument with that with regards to films. You're playing a character. You're playing a character for your audience. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is, what does your audience see and digest when they're watching this very visual art? So for someone like Alan, a lot of Americans won't see an Asian person. So if he's playing an Asian character, it becomes an issue. Now, if he's playing a half Asian character, not a problem. But if he's playing a full-blooded Chinese, Japanese, Asian person, your audience, to be honest, whether they're from Asia or North America, is probably gonna be like, nah, we got a problem here.
A lot that can be done with hair and makeup though, right? So I face this problem in China, in mainland China, when I'm working. And believe it or not, makeup and hair can do a lot to you. So I don't think that's an issue. And I think as time goes on, we're going to be more accustomed to the definition of Asian being something entirely different. It's not going to just be this one look. There are so many Hapas and so many mixed babies now.
That's
so
true.
when they grow up, everybody's going to be used to it.
But I think when that happens, you'll have a half Asian representation in a way.
You think so? You think so?
More so. It'll be more common because obviously you have being half Asian as a role in a show or movie that's from Asia it's not necessarily super common, but it's there a lot.
Yeah, it's
definitely there. I'd say there's in the Singapore drama series, there's one half Asian in every single one.
And they're actually playing half Asian.
And they're playing half Asian roles.
Yeah. Just there are no half Asian roles.
I think it's only a matter of time before that goes into more Western audiences. It's just that in America and Europe, the masses don't. They're like, wait, half Asian? What? Like they just haven't been exposed to it so much.
Okay, so I feel like we need to differentiate between two different things right now because I think we're talking about two different things.
We are.
On the one hand, Justin, I think one of the things we're talking about is an appropriate product of entertainment that the audience can digest and understand and feel like they get the world, right? And in that way, having someone that represents the character as best as you can envision really, really helps, right? That's why it's very hard, for example, to get older people to play kids and kids to play older people. I enjoy it usually when it's both, when they're playing their actual age. But the other thing we're talking about is a social justice issue, right? Or a morality issue. Is it moral to play different ethnicities? And then animation, I want to get into, Justin, because right now we're just talking about live action, right? Live action, I'm with Anne. I don't think that you should be playing an ethnicity that's not your ethnicity, not because of the product that the audience consumes, because of the opportunities that different ethnicities get within the entertainment industry to be able to perform. And I think it's just about job availability. And I would say the same thing about animation.
Agree, 100%.
Yeah,
Justin, Justin's thinking. He's pondering.
No, I totally get that argument. Like I totally get it, and a lot of that makes total sense. And representation is important, and it needs to be there. You're not always gonna have a person that's gonna meet your exact demographic. Like, okay, like one example would be you got a lot of complex characters, like that are people of different religions and races, and like where do you stop it? Do they have to be of this race and this religion and this age? Like so you've got to figure out where that line is, a fuzzy line at best, but you got to kind of figure out where it is to some extent. It's tough. But I mean, one thing I do find weird is with regards to the voiceover artists. So you've got what's the name of that show?
Is it Big Mouth?
Animated series, Big Mouth. You have the black character, the kid, who's half
fantastic.
Jewish, half black, looks black. You had the Jewish actress that was doing her voice that didn't come out and apologized for doing her voice. And say that she would.
I didn't know about that, Justin.
Yeah. So
I didn't know about that.
So your issue is, wait, how many half Jewish, half black people are there? I mean, there's some actors in Hollywood. They're going to hire for jobs that are half black, half Jewish. So this poor person, she's Jewish, playing a half black, half Jewish person, and she feels the need to come out and say, I'm sorry for playing this black person, this cartoon character. Man, I don't know, like, really? Like, right?
And have you seen Big Mouth? Justin, I totally hear you. I definitely want to
I've not, but that's a very interesting case. I don't know how I feel about that yet.
So it's so interesting, Justin, that we're thinking about the same character. Because as I was talking about animation and saying that I don't think it's right to play a character outside of your ethnicity if that ethnicity of talents don't have the opportunities that they should, right?
Right.
But that character specifically came into my mind because,
Yeah.
and this character, okay, I've watched a lot of Daniel Tiger. I don't know if you guys have heard of Daniel Tiger. It's a children's show that was created by Mr. Rogers, and it is the new Mr. Rogers for the youth of today. And my nephew loves it, right? And one of the things I love, it's kind of like BoJack Horseman, where they have animals and humans and people like all hanging out.
But for children.
But for children.
Okay.
And the people, and the kids are of different ethnicities, right? But one of the things I love is that even though the families and the kids are different ethnicities and have different colors, skin in the animation, the way they talk, interact, hang out, there's no stereotypes whatsoever. Like literally you could replace the skin color on the animations with different people and it wouldn't change the way the characters acted, talked, or anything. It's cool, right? It promotes this idea that we really are all just the same, which is what I want. Yeah. So then I thought about this character, Justin, and you're right that character doesn't have any stereotypes or anything.
Like Abu, I get.
I think
Abu's a stereotype. The accent that he uses is a stereotype. I get that argument. Is there something there that makes it a different thing when it comes to an actor playing a live action role where you see them as opposed to hearing their voice? Is there something there where it's like, this is okay, but this gets a little weird for us?
What do you think, Anne? I'm curious.
I mean, I will say I've gotten some voiceover animation auditions that specifically said Asian American, no accent. So I found that to be interesting. I was like, well, how do I let them
what does that mean?
American? Yeah, what does
so
it mean?
Interesting.
So you're Asian American doing an American accent.
Correct.
It should just sound like an American girl.
Mid-Atlantic English, I don't know. But maybe there is kind of like, like an ABC up talk, like a ABG, I don't know. Maybe there is like a different tempo or tone to it.
No, I don't think there is.
Not really. There is? No. I think,
see, I don't know.
Asian Americans talk like Americans, depending on where they're from in America. I have Asian American friends that have a thick Texan accent because they grew up in freaking middle of nowhere, Texas. Like,
so I don't know.
They have a Texan, they sound like Matthew McConaughey, and they are full Asian.
Okay.
So
then it's just about representation at that point, which I think the fact that they're doing this is great. Like, I think if you can at least try to find an Asian American to play the role, go ahead. But if you can, so for that one character, if you can find a Black and Jewish woman to play it, phenomenal. But if you cannot, then at that point, I think, okay, maybe look for other people that are just Jewish or just Black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try at least make an effort.
For me, as far as the representation thing goes, so there's a lot of fireworks going on right now. It sounds like bombs are going off. Do you hear those?
Me too. No, me too. I'm hearing my own.
Okay, it's crazy. All around the neighborhood. It was distracting. 4th of July.
You got this, Justin. You got this. You're making a great point. I don't know what it is yet.
Maybe it was going to be an incredibly racist point.
Hey, you never know.
I don't know. You never know. I mean,
so look.
An element of not understanding other races and what's okay and what's not is with all of us, because not all of us can share the same experiences of what other people share that don't look like us, because your appearance obviously influences how you're treated. We're visual creatures. So with that being said,
Justin, I don't think you didn't say anything offensive, and I don't think you said anything racist.
As long as we make an effort to have dialogue and talk to people and unlearn what we know, then it's fine. Like, nobody's perfect.
It's not necessary to understand every single culture's experiences. It's not necessary to have experienced it yourself firsthand and know exactly why they feel the way they feel and how they feel. It's just necessary to be open to learning about it.
Empathy is key.
And empathy, you're right. If we just had empathy.
And to listen. People in America do not listen to other people. Like, you're in your tribe, and this is the massive problem here right now. Here we are, like 3 people that most Americans would just say are white, talking about this.
That's what I was
Even
gonna
though we're
bring this
not
up.
really totally white, but they
We're not.
think we're white.
People.
Beautiful that we are, mixed and biracial or whatever, because I feel like I have greater empathy, or I was able to, because
Something we still didn't hit the fluff that Justin wants. You're like, we're gonna talk about something funny. What do you think about Asian American representation in entertainment in Hollywood? So I'm like, oh shit. Okay, this isn't super crazy, but I was supposed to. This is like the first job I ever did in Singapore, and I was promoting a 3-in-1 instant coffee thing, right? And they never worked with me. Nobody had ever worked with me. No one had realized yet that I have excessively active sweat glands. And we're filming outdoors, and I'm supposed to be drinking this lusciously nice cold iced coffee, right? But the coffee won't get wet and perspiring enough, because they say I look so wet that the cup itself looks dry. And so they couldn't get the cup to look wet enough next to me so that it looks fresh and inviting.
Was this in Singapore?
Yeah. We were filming outdoors.
It is quite hot there.
Have you been diagnosed with this as an actual issue?
No, I just know that, and I just know I sweat excessively.
And how are your sweat glands?
My sweat glands are fine, but
Lucky.
My craziest story would be when I was in Dunhuang in mainland China, and oh my goodness, I've been laughing so much my eyeliner has been running. But when I was in mainland China, I had this movie that I was doing as an imperial one, and I had wires on me, and as did my horse. So there was a scene where the horse had to get pulled up, and poor horse, it was by the neck and through the mouth. Yeah, I feel like that's low-key animal abuse.
Or high key.
Or high key, yeah. So that is pretty crazy, and I don't like that story.
Yeah, that's tough.
Wait. Hold on.
A whole entire horse?
They pulled the whole horse up.
Yeah, you know how in movies where the horse gets scared and it goes up?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't really induce that without physically.
Oh, fuck. Is that how they do that?
In China, yeah.
Every horse that we've seen that goes up on its hind legs is probably because they had to force it.
I don't know. I feel like in the U.S. the horses are trained to do that.
Probably, yeah. Well, this one wasn't. This one wasn't trained.
Wait, were you on the horse?
I was on the horse, and then I had to. When the horse went up, I had to get pulled up by the wires, and then do a 360, and then fall back on the horse.
So, can you ride a horse?
Yeah.
Huh?
Wait, Justin, can you not ride a horse?
No. No.
I
can ride one horribly.
So what, Taxon?
I've been on 2 horses. I've been on one horse when I was a child in New Mexico, and then I've been on another horse in Inner Mongolia, China. It was it hurt so bad.
It takes practice.
And I can't speak like I've actually ridden the horses. I've ridden one.
It's a skill. So can we just find you a horse, Anne, and you just hop on that thing and just ride it around right now?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, but I can do it for movies and TV shows.
It's impressive.
Justin, we need to work on our horse riding skills.
Amongst other skills.
Just skills. We just need to get some skills.
You guys are talented. You guys are very talented.
Hey, so who's voting for Kanye West?
You know what? It's so bizarre. Isn't he friends with Trump?
He's very bipolar. I don't know if he knows who he's friends with.
Wait, Justin, you know he's actually bipolar, right?
Yeah, I do.
He actually is bipolar.
I do know this. He takes he's often on medication all the time.
Yeah.
I saw his interview with David Letterman.
You did watch it. Wasn't it good?
So good.
I thought, and if you get a chance, David Letterman's got, you know about it, a new Netflix show. Not new, actually.
You might want to learn about our new president, so go ahead and watch it a little bit.
Easy. All right.
Anne's like, I'm not coming back to the States. He's not my president.
How insane would it be to have Trump as your president for 4 years?
And then Kanye West?
And then Kanye the next 4 years.
I can't, man. They can't.
Who do you think would do better?
Well, no, okay. There's no way Kanye will be the next 4 years. It will probably the 4 years after, right?
No. He's running for this next 4 years.
This next 4 years.
Yeah, but he's not going to win.
No, I mean,
break up the votes, and I think that might be
honestly. At this point in the universe, Alan, where we are, who the hell knows if Kanye wins or not?
We didn't think Trump would win.
No.
Yeah.
And actually, Anne's got a good point. So you think that Kanye's running to take votes away from Biden?
I think it's very possible.
I think he's running to promote his album.
That too.
And because he's crazy. But who do you think would be better?
Kanye, I'm not going to say that I know for a fact. I don't know Kanye, but I feel like he has come out and admitted at moments that he felt like he was wrong or apologized about something. Or if you talk to him, if you listen to the David Letterman interview, which is really good, he's way more self-aware than Trump.
He has empathy.
And he's empathy and he's self-aware. He knows, like, I think one of Trump's biggest issues is he maybe has no idea how terrible he is.
I think Kanye is less crazy than Trump.
Then I would say Kanye. Yeah. Kanye for president. I like Bernie Sanders, first of all.
Agreed.
So we gotta feel the Bernie fan. I like Bernie. Actually, I like Elizabeth Warren.
Okay, cool.
I like Elizabeth Warren.
Tulsi Gabbard.
It's
not bad. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's just too bad that the Democratic Party is so corrupt and we have what we have. But I don't know. I just feel so lost, and I'm just kind of like, what is happening to 2020? Kanye might be better, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just desensitized and numb to all of this. I'm just kind of like, nah, what's new? 2020.
That should be Kanye's campaign slogan.
What's new?
Kanye might be better.
Yes. It should be Kanye West 2020. Make America better? Question mark. Maybe. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We know it's earlier time in the day, but thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate getting to catch up with you guys.
Thanks, Ann. We appreciate you joining us. Just 3 Americans on the 4th of July, hanging out, talking about, international, global, and American things that perhaps we shouldn't be talking about. It's been a great podcast.
But what's more patriotic?
Than Americans talking about things they shouldn't be talking about? Nothing. That is the most patriotic American thing that Americans do.
All right, to all of you guys who are listening at home, I don't know how you made it to the end of this, but thank you for sticking around. And we'll see you guys next time.
Hey, Alan.
What?
Are we podcasting yet?
Ooh.